Right, it's time to start doing our wings now. Now I've done some test fitting and I've already done the one wing, and we've got a few problems to have a look at now. If you decide to have your wing in the open position and have your flaps down and slats open, this part is going to be easier. However, I want my wings in the closed position, so basically my flaps need to be up and my slats need to be closed. So that's going to create a few little problems, because with most things in modelling, if the designers make it so it's to be in the open position, when you come to close it, it doesn't quite close that well, and that's what happens with our flaps here. So the problem is that when you do actually come along and close your flaps, you get like a nasty little step just here, which is going to look a little bit naff if you just glue that in straight away, just like that. We've got an option. Well, one option, we could sand away at the back of our slat here to basically thin it down so as that we can get rid of this step. However, I mean, it's quite thin already. I don't know how well you can see that, but this is already quite thin, this plastic, and if we start sanding away at this, I think we're going to get a little bit too fine. So another option what we can do, and it's the option what I'm going to do, and I think in some ways I can also show you a few things. Now what we're going to do, we're going to get ourselves a micro saw, and we're going to start cutting our way into the actual wing itself. And I'm just cutting the sides first. Right, let's try and get that nice, and we're just sawing nicely into it, and we don't want to be going off and sawing any more than actually what I probably should have done, just to show you a bit better. Nice little red pen here, and we'll just mark what exactly we're cutting away. So hopefully you can see red pen line, which is also a good idea for a lot of kind of scratch building where you actually cut away something. It's just to put a nice red line just so you can see nice and clearly what it is that needs to be removed and actually what doesn't need to be removed. So again, I'm just sawing at this end like so. And hopefully, as you can see, I've sawed this end and this end, and we've got to go along here. Now going along here is a little bit more harder and trickier, so tell me a pea cutter, right, and we can just nicely set this along, a nice first light drag along our slat area here, and then we've just put ourselves a nice little trench in. And what we can do is just keep on going along like so, removing this plastic, making our trench bigger and bigger until we've cut all the way through. Right then, hopefully as you can see, I've just dragged my pea cutter along there and kept on doing it until we're pretty much all the way through. And what basically is now we've cut enough the way through that we can actually give this, now you shouldn't be bending this so to the point where you're really putting some force. It should be able to just nicely bend on its own like so, and we can just keep on twisting it like this, and hopefully we're going to come free. There we go, and we've just removed the piece that we don't want. Okay, so we want to just tidy this up now, so we could come in with our blade, because all these areas here where we've kind of cut at it are not quite, you know, right up and nice and neat. Alright, so I'm just giving this a nice little chop, especially in the corners. It's the corners where this is going to be needs to be nice and all good. So I'm just using a blade and I'm just scraping at it. I'm going to this corner, getting this nicely cut in and nice, and then we can quickly come along with a coarse sanding stick and we can just quickly get rid of this little bit of mess just here, right, like so. Right then, and what hopefully should be the case now is when we come along with our slat here, is it should be a really nice fit, right, and it is, right. But what we need to do now is we need to get this glued on so that we've got no step or anything like that, right. So what we can do, or what I did with the last one anyway, was I've got some Tamiya masking tape. And we'll just start up the top here, and I'm just going to get it so that this Tamiya masking tape just holds it just enough perfectly in position, like so. And again another one down the other end, like so. And I think we could do one more in the middle. There we go. Now that is looking pretty nice on there, and I'm not feeling any step actually, and that's just with the masking tape down. But what I want to just quickly do is try and get it sort of getting, I don't want to come along and just blast a load of glue on it, because I just want to get it all nice. So I'm just going to tap just a little bit of glue, okay, not where the Tamiya masking tape is, just to start a bit of a gluing process, right, because the problem is with this, it's a little bit on the fiddly side. Right, so we just need it just gently held into place a little bit. Right, that's just on the top side, and take your time. You know, you need to kind of get the patience with this bit, right, to get it all nice. Then, nice bit of zapper gap. Right, bit of scrap card I like to use, and we just kind of pour a bit of this onto our scrap card, like so. I like to wipe away the end so that we can keep the nibble nice. Cocktail stick, and we just want a nice quick bit of this just on the inside of where our slat is, just there, like so. Make sure it looks all good this side. We're all still looking good this side. Bit of Vital Bond kicker, quickly spray on the inside, right, just to activate that super glue. Right, and while that's activating on the underside really quickly, we can just make sure that this side is all still nice and step free. Right, and again we come back again, but this time we do it in the middle. Right, bit of activator, and again turn upside down and just make sure we're all good this side. Yeah, no step, remember, that's what we don't want. The less of a step, the less sanding we've got to do to get this all nice and perfect. Right, we can remove that top one now, and that's feeling quite good. I mean, I'm feeling just a slight little bit of a step, but I mean, it's like, you know, kind of hairline kind of step, which shouldn't be that hard to take care of now. And actually, because we've got those two bits of super glue in place and the little bit of Tamiya extra thin cement just on the top, that is actually held in quite nicely now for us to do a nice light bit of gluing on top. Okay, nice light gluing on top, like so. Just follow the line very nicely, very gently. all the way along. And that's looking good. And then what we can do is actually, before we do it, make sure our super glue is dry. Yeah, it is dry. And we can just really kind of get a little bit thicker with our Tamiya Extra Thin, but underneath, just to make this sure that this is going to stay in the right place. Right, and because I want to kind of move along, I'm just going to quickly also get some of this glue, super glue, on the underside to really hold this into place, so I can kind of move along with this kind of a little quicker, because as you know, super glue dries a lot quicker than Tamiya Extra Thin cement. So give that a nice bit of a blast with our kicker. We can quickly make sure we're all lined up nicely on this side. This is the side we want, all nice and neat, no steps. And actually what we could do, I mean, this side is a little bit wobbly just up this end, so if we can get a bit of this glue again, and I think I'm going to need to pour some more out. Yes, I am, because that's gone a bit gooey and nasty. Okay, my glue's on the end of the nibs just dried up, so we just poke it with a cocktail stick quickly, and that'll come out again, like so. Bang, top on. Alright, cocktail stick, let's get in here and let's get a nice big blob of glue here, because we don't have to worry about it being neat this side. Nice big blast there of our kicker, and then what we do, we just kind of hold this into the perfect position we want it to be in while we wait for that super glue, the other side, to properly kick in and go rock hard. Which it's taking a little bit of time to do, but yeah, that is nicely in place now. I'm feeling that is nice, virtually hardly any step. And actually we've got the same sort of problem this corner as well, so again, nice blob of super glue here, kicker quick, and then just while the kicker is activating that super glue, right, we make sure it's nicely lined up with no steps, saving us potentially a heap load of time. And that is feeling nice there. So hopefully that is going to look really nice. Well, it is going to look really nice. So now we've done that, we need to glue in our bottom section, and you know, this is going to take a bit of doing as well. But first what we need to do, we need to remove our little pegs. So I'm just getting my pliers now, and we're just going to remove our little pegs here, which are like actuators for our flaps. And we just need a nice kind of coarse sanding stick, and we just kind of sand that down. And we don't have to worry too much about this, because this isn't going to be seen. This is just so it actually fits in. Right, and make sure that just looks and feels nice all the way along there, so it fits. Right then, so now we come to fitting this side in, which what you'll probably notice is that actually you've got a bit of a step this end as well, and what we've got to do there then is we get one of Model Design Construction's skinny sticks. And for those of you who've seen skinny sticks before, I know what you're thinking, but it is actually true. Model Design Construction, you know, they do kind of label these up and they do sell these as their own. So that's where I got them from. And what we're going to do, we're just going to start sanding away at the lumps and bumps, right? Which we got some ejector pin marks just here. I don't know if you can see them, but there's ejector pin marks here that need to be kind of taken care of. And then there's a little bit of a lump and bump here. Plus, I mean, we've had maybe a little bit of the old super glue kind of maybe go on certain areas. So we're kind of just sanding that back. And I do believe down here as well. Let's have a little see. Yes, even the super glue here is getting in the way. So maybe you might want to be a bit more neater with the whole super glue thing, just so you don't have the trouble of having to sand that back, you know. And again, quick test fit, and that's not really playing nice. I can see why. There's a bit of super glue there, which I'm going to come in with a blade. Right then, hopefully you can see by the nice bit of a speed up there that we've just sanded out all our ejector pin marks here that are getting in the way from getting this to a really nice seal. And I've just test fitted it. Oh, I've got a bit of a mess going on here. Hold on. Right, so I've just test fitted it, and we're just gonna start gluing this now together. So what we want to do is make sure we're all good, and plain and simply let's just start coming along and gluing it away with the Tamiya extra thin cement. Now remember, you know, this Tamiya extra thin cement is very thin, and it will go the direction of gravity, so it's always a good idea to have it going down where you've got no thumbs or fingers, i.e. don't have it like this where gravity's coming down and there's your thumb and it dribbles down, goes on your thumb, and you end up with this massive nasty thumbprint on your wing that you've got to then sand out and sort out. Alright, so I'm just making sure this is all good. Alright. No thumbs, no fingers in the way. Do we need a peg? We could probably do with a peg this end. Where's my pegs gone? Here we go. Nice little peg. Just this end. Should hold that in nicely. Maybe a quick another one there. No, that'll be alright. And again, remember the gravity thing. No fingers, no thumbs in the way. Right, and I've just basically glued now almost all around. Let's remove that peg a sec. You can put it back into place. Right, now we've got it glued, we want to just make sure everything is nice and good. A peg here probably wouldn't hurt, like so. And we don't have to glue this end here quite yet, and we've got another piece to come in there. Right then, so hopefully as you can see that's all nicely glued in. We've got literally hardly any step going on now with this slat, which if we just glued that on straight away, we'd have probably almost a mil thick of a slat kind of step going on here, which is a bit of a pain. But you know, sadly, so many manufacturers have this thing about trying to, you know, once it's designed to be open, that's it, you try and close it and it's going to be a lot of trouble. So we've got our little piece here as well, which is preparing our flaps to go on now. So we're just gonna, what you want to make sure is you don't have it this way, where you can see these little bits that are sticking out, but it's supposed to actually go this way, right? Where it's kind of all nice and flat on the surface. Right, and you want to try and get these in here, like so. Just make sure we're all good. And this is a pretty simple task of simply gluing this in as well. So I'm going to glue this in and I'll show you about the flaps. As you can see, I've just glued in our little piece here where our slat's going to now slot in there, but we need to build our slats first. Right, so our slats, again, we've got this two-piece system going on here, which I find rather annoying. I would rather they had two pieces that were, you know, both equal, shall we say, or just one piece, because this whole thing where they get two pieces and then you've got this join line that goes across here and then up there, it's just what's going on. It's just annoying, because now we're going to have to do, to get this right, we're going to have to put a bit of work in. But first off, you know, again, we've got our ejector pin marks, right, which are going to get in the way of us properly sealing this up. So we're just going to sand out these ejector pin marks. Nice coarse skinny stick by Model Design Construction. Right, and that should hopefully do it. Quick test fit just to make sure we're all good, and that does look all good. So just rub that out a bit. Okay, coming along, same thing. Tam your extra thin cement, making sure gravity is sending it down in a direction where you haven't got thumbs, fingers, to get that all smudged onto your plastic. Just working my way down, hopefully, as you can see, and just getting that sealed in nicely. We don't have to be too neat here, because where this join line is going to actually glue into our wing section, which will be covered up. Alright, so make sure that's all in nicely, and then we can put some glue in our actual line, join line here. And we don't have to be too neat here either, because there is another stage to this. Because the problem is, although you might be able to go, oh, we could turn this into a recessed panel line, there is no recessed panel line that on the aircraft like that. In fact, once we've filled this in, there's just no panel lines going on here, but there are one or two which I can see, so we're going to scribe them in as well. So we're going to show you some scribing in a sec. So let's just make sure this is in position. Alright, and that does look pretty good. So what we're going to do now is going to come back to some Zapper Gap, right, and our little messy palette here. But what we're going to do, where is it? We're going to come along with an old Swan Morton blade here, blade handle, and an old number 11 blade as well. And we're just going to kind of dip this in to our CA glue, i.e. super glue, and we're going to, I'm going to bring you in actually, that's what I'm going to do. What we're going to do is we're just going to follow this actual join line with our blade, right? And what this blade does is it allows us to apply our super glue real precise and real nice, and kind of just literally you're touching that seam line with the blade for it to just get in there really good, and just nicely be able to allow us to fill this gap. Now I think I've just, did I? Nope. We're good, we're good. Right. Oops, maybe a bit too much there on the blade. But hey, it doesn't matter, we're gonna sand it out. Right, so we've got our super glue nicely all applied pretty damn precisely onto our panel line here. That is some crappy join line that they do. Quick little tip to bring you out. Wipe this away just very quickly, scrap bit of paper towel on the end of your blade, quick wipe, just one or two. Now what you can do is get a lighter and you can burn off the CA glue that's on the end of your blade, and then that's all then kind of cleaned up of CA glue. Maybe a quick wipe, careful, it will be hot. Now that is dangerous, by the way, because I mean the fumes that come off like CA glue are supposed to be kind of really nasty, so you know, gas masks and all that kind of stuff, and be careful, it's fire and all that, so you know, do be careful when doing that. So now we've got our CA glue down here, a quick blast of our Vital Bond kicker going on, give it a blow. And we should now be all nice and dry, as quick as that. So sanding time. Right, now got some more sanding sticks by again, Model Design Construction, and what we're going to use, we're going to go for a real kind of nice coarse one, and what we're going to do is we're going to really kind of get this CA glue really kind of sanded down. So let's bring you in pretty close again. Right, and what we're going to do, we're going to do a wet sanding as well. So I've got a bit of water in here, we can dip our sanding stick in and we can just start to sand away at our wing, and I'm just sanding in just nice circles. Right, nice wet sanding with a coarse sanding stick. Hopefully, as you can see. Right, there we go, we've nicely done the coarse sanding stick, which is kind of really the brunt of this whole sanding process is with a coarse stick, because we're dealing with CA glue, it is a bit on the tough side to actually sand out. So what we're doing now is we're coming in with a nice sort of a medium sanding stick to kind of start getting out all them scratches, and we're still coming along with a wet sanding, right, and we're still doing our circles, hopefully, as you can see. Maybe a bit more water. And then once we've given this a half decent sanding, we can then kind of work our way down to a bit of a fine grit now, which I've got to work out which one it was. It was the yellow one. Right, nice colourful. Okay, and here we go again. Maybe a bit of water there. And what we're doing is really, I mean, the coarse sanding stick has sanded away our CA glue, but has also left behind a lot of pretty nasty scratches from all that coarse sanding. So what this whole process here is getting the plastic back to a nice smooth surface after the coarse sanding stick damage, right? And I think that's going to be quite good now. Have a little bit of a feel, see if you can feel any bumps or anything like that, and we should be okay. And what we can do as a final sort of method is we've got some, also by Model Design Construction, is this nice spongy, really kind of fine sanding stick. And again, we can go for a bit of a wet sand as well. Right. And we just start giving this a bit of a sand, and this is where we really kind of polish it out. All nice and smooth. Right. And then Model Design Construction do a really kind of nice little bit of an extra, as the same thing as the fine blue sanding stick, but this white one goes even finer. Right, it's not like a buff like these ones that you do canopies with, but it's just that little bit extra, nice little bit of an extra touch that really kind of brings your plastic back to a nice smooth surface, ready for all your spraying. Now the reason why I've used CA glue as well is that with most fillers, what will happen is you will fill it, sand it, tomorrow it will probably shrink on you, so then you've got to refill and sand again. With CA glue, I mean, that is it, job done. Once you've sanded it, it's not going to shrink back, right? It's just you've got to put that little bit of effort, more effort into sanding it. So now we can do a bit of rescribing, because this join line here wasn't supposed to be a panel line anywhere on the actual real aircraft. So what we want to do, we want to put in the panel lines that are supposed to be here. Now I've got a new tool as well, so another new tool going on here. It's I forgot what it was called now, hold on. It's from RB Productions, and basically this is a bit of photo etch that you build into this nice P cutter thing going on here, and then you put it into a simple Swan Morton blade holder. So that's really cool. And what we're going to do, we're going to get a panel line to go all the way along the top here, okay, as you can hopefully see. And I just want it to see where we've got our little holes here. I just want to make sure we can actually get a line to go just underneath, and I'm using those little holes as a guide as well to follow. Now I know this template doesn't go all the way along, but we'll get to that in a bit. Now the cool thing about this new blade is it's really fine, so let's just take it nice and slow with a very light drag backwards, right? We're not really putting hardly any pressure down, we're just getting it and very lightly bringing it back, and we're just slowly getting ourselves a nice bit of a trench. Nice recessed panel line getting put in here, right? And if I pull that back away now, what I love about this new P cutter is, although the Tamiya P cutter is really nice and I do still love this, this one gives you such a much more nicer, really fine, more professional recessed panel line. However, it is a little bit too fine and too delicate, in the sense that when it comes to using this freehand, you don't have as much control as you do with the Tamiya. Now what I've just done is we've just missed this little bit on the end. Let's bring you right in, why not? Right, we've got this little panel line just here, which where it stopped because our template was too small, so we've just got to finish this little end off here, and plain and simply you just line up with what you've already done. Hopefully, as you can see, we're lining up with what we've already done. So if we line up with what we've already done, it should turn out pretty nice and straight. But you're going to make sure it's all nicely lined up with the last one, and then we can just finish this off here. Nice light passes like so, and that is looking nice.